for tuning in to another edition of Outside the Shop with me, your host, Daryl D. Lane, where I get to talk about everything that I normally don't get a chance to talk about on my regular sports podcast, Barbershop Sports Talk, which you guys can find on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iRadio, SoundCloud, whichever podcasting app or platform you may use. Below in the description, I have a clip that I posted from the podcast I did with my good friend K. Sims, scouting expert for 247 Sports, a couple days ago, and it is on some adjustments the Kansas City Chiefs can make after losing to the Baltimore Ravens. It's about 3 minutes, so read that. It's also on the YouTube channel as well, which is on, so give that a like and a subscribe. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. First, we're going to start with this. Packers versus Lions Monday Night Football. 35-17 win for the Packers. It was a game that the Lions were winning 17-14 heading into halftime. The Packers kind of pulled away, end up winning 35-17. Roll off a bunch of points, make sure the Lions can't score. A couple of takeaways for this game for me was this. The Packers aren't a great football team. They just beat a worse football team than the Lions. A great football team shellaxed the Lions on Monday football. I think the Packers have a lot of their run defense is still awful. The Lions were able to run the football at will. There were a couple times where they just opened mad holes on that front seven, just blowing the front seven off the ball. So I think that is going to end up being a big issue for the Packers. Also, I don't think the Packers offensive line plays that great. I know Aaron Jones scored 4 touchdowns, but I thought it was more systematic stuff with Rodgers and head coach Matt LaFleur than he's just really taking over the game from a rushing perspective. I do want to say this. This is also another takeaway. And this is how the Packers are going to have to win, right, as the season goes on. They are going to have, they're going to, on offense, Aaron Rodgers is going to have to be extremely efficient. Efficient passing game, efficient running game with balance. And I know that's easier said than done. That's kind of the formula they had last year. That's the only way they can win. They can't win with one game where you're throwing it with Aaron 50 times. They just can't. They're just not good enough. They need balance, so that allows the defense to be on their heels. It makes Aaron that much better, and then he can scramble plays outside the pocket and without the confines of the offense and stuff of that nature. So I think that's something very important. Also, the receivers besides Devontae Smith, I'm really not sold on the receivers. So that's where I am with the Green Bay Packers. They are not that talented of a football team. I think I can name a lot of teams in the NFL that I think have more talent. I don't think they have an elite position group on their roster besides quarterback. Talking about individual, I can't say quarterback, but quarterback plays the whole game basically. So that's why I'm counting just one quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. But if you look at the receivers, they don't have a top 5 receiving corps. Don't have a top 5 offensive line. For sure don't have a top 5 defensive line. Not a top 5 linebacking corps. Secondary, I wouldn't say top 5. I'd say you could say maybe top 10. I would call it top 5. When there's secondaries like the Bills, the Panthers, the Broncos and whatnot out. There's tons of secondaries that are better than the Packers, but I'd say maybe top 10. They don't have a group. They don't have one elite group at all. They just have the quarterback position. I think that's very telling, and it kind of shows where Green Bay is not a super talented football team. Also, Aaron Rodgers kind of went off on the Pat McAfee show. He comes on there every Tuesday, and he kind of went off on all the haters of the platform. People have said that it didn't look like he cared. I think that Aaron obviously cares. That's why he came back, have to come back. So anybody who's saying that he didn't care about the game, they got blown by the Saints, that's just stupid. Obviously he cared. It's not like now he doesn't care now that they blew up the Lions. He cared. The team's just not good enough, and sometimes maybe your face on the sidelines a little less than stellar because nobody likes getting butt up on national TV for you, me, and Dupree and everybody else in the world to see. So that's my takeaways. And also on the Lions side, I like the program. They're solid. They're tough. They're competitive. And that's all you can ask for with a team with not a lot of talent, right? As soon as the coach, they get higher caliber players in there and run their system, I think the Lions, we might have to be on the lookout. They were competitive with the Niners, and they were competitive with the Packers. So I think that's an impressive feat to not lay down when you see teams like the Jaguars under Urban Meyer who lay down, which is also something to mention. You look at these teams that were projected to be bad to begin the year. Jets, the Lions, the Twins, all these teams show more fight to the Jaguars. I just want to say that. I know everybody talks about Urban Meyer, great college football coach, but all these bad teams have shown top 10. At number 1, I'm going to go with the Buccaneers, defending Super Bowl champion. They are 2-0. Defeated Tom Brady better than ever. 2, I'm still going to have the Kansas City Chiefs at number 2, even though they are now 1-1. They lost a tough game to the Ravens, a game that I think they probably should have won, but they beat the Browns, who I have really high hope and really high regard. I think is a top 3 team in the AFC. I know they lost the Ravens, but it was at Baltimore. So I'm going to still give Kansas City that respect, given that they're 1-1. At 3, I'm going to go with the 2-0 Los Angeles Rams. It wasn't as pretty as their opening week game against the Chicago Bears, but they still found a way to win against an Indianapolis Colts team is very game. At number 4, the Cleveland Browns. They are 1-1. Disappointed in how they placed the Texans. The Texans were able to move the ball better than they probably should against the Browns. The Browns also have some injuries with Jarvis. It's debatable whether Odell is going to come back yet. So right now I have the Cleveland Browns at number 4 in my power rankings. At number 5, the Arizona Cardinals, who are 2-0 and have been magnificent. Super explosive. Kyler Murray is making an MVP statement so far. He threw for 400 yards this past Sunday. Their offense is humming. The defense has some issues. I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals at 2-0 as my number 5 team. At number 6, I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers. Tough wins against lesser talented teams in the Eagles and the Lions, but still found a way to win, and still found a way to win when there was, the offense struggled and their defense and Kyle Shanahan's play calling carried them through it. I'm going to put the Niners at 6. At 7, speaking of the Panthers, I'm going to have the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers are legit. I know they beat the Jets. The Jets aren't that great of a football team, we all know, but they shellacked the Saints, which is kind of impressive. They made the Saints look dumb, stupid, dazed, confused, didn't know what to do out there. I'm going to have the Panthers at 7. Their defense is one of the best defenses in the NFL. And it seems like Sam Darnold is starting to look like he can be a real quarterback, and they have a lot of offensive skill. Christian McCaffrey's and DJ Moore's of the world. At number 8, the Las Vegas Raiders. I have them at 8. John Gruden's impressing me. Derek Carr playing phenomenal football with their tight end. And Henry Ruggs came alive a little bit. The defense isn't that bad. They can hold their own. So I'm going to put the Raiders at 8. And they're 2-0. And they beat 2 tough teams in the AFC North, the Ravens and the Steelers. That's pretty good. At number 9, I'm going to go with those Baltimore Ravens, who rebounded from losing in overtime to to beating the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to need to see a little bit more of the Ravens, so I'm ready to go there. They still have some injuries, which makes me hesitant. Lamar still struggled a little bit passing the football during that game, so that's why I have them at number 9, but great win. And at number 10, my Buffalo Bills. I have not been happy with the way they played, particularly on all so far this season. I thought they should have done way better than Miami, even though it's 35-0. But if you watch the game, they did not play all that well on the offensive side of the ball. I'm still waiting for that offense to kind of reach that peak level and hum like it did last year. So I'm the Buffalo Bills at number 10. So just to recap this, my NFL power rankings: number 1, the Tampa Buccaneers; number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs; number 3, the LA Rams; number 4, the Cleveland Browns; number 5, the Arizona Cardinals; number 6, the San Francisco 49ers; number 7, the Carolina Panthers; number 8, the Las Vegas Raiders; number 9, the Baltimore Ravens; and number 10, the Buffalo Bills. So USC. So after they fired Clay Helton, USC interim coach Dante Williams has kind of declared a little bit of quarterback controversy with their incumbent quarterback, Caden Slovis. And I'm forgetting the other quarterback's name. His name is Dart. That's his name, Dart. So they're having a little bit of a quarterback battle. I think that's crazy. I think that's asinine. He's a freshman. I believe he was highly recruited coming out. But I know that the interim coach, but I don't see the reason in benching a guy like Slow, who is projected to be be one of the top 5 QBs coming up in this NFL draft. He's a guy who's done a lot for the program, and he's going to be gone next year anyway. So I don't like the idea of just benching. The play between those two guys can't be that drastic. And also, USC isn't going anywhere. There's no college football playoff dreams there. They're just trying to be solid and build their pick. Also, do stuff like that. Recruits notice. Like, this is a dude that's going to be drafted. Like, and recruits notice that type of stuff. And when you have a guy who played in the NFL as an alumni, and I know USC has tons of those guys, but you want them to speak highly. You want to use those guys when you come into mom and dad's, grandma and grandpa's living rooms, and you sell them on your program. And this guy might not even be there. I don't expect him to be there because I think USC is going to go for a splash, but something that I just don't think is a good move. At number 4, next what we have in terms of stories, Ben Simmons of the Philadelphia 76ers trade rumors. The 76ers are intent on convincing the starter report to camp. Adrian Wojnarowski just reported that Ben Simmons will not be showing up to camp. It could be a very dicey, uncomfortable situation that is going on with Ben Simmons and the Sixers. I don't know how this is going to get resolved. We know Rich Paul, Ron's agent in Clutch sports. We also reference Ben Simmons. We know right to make power plays. We've seen with the Anthony Davis scenario. We've seen how LeBron's kind of controlled his own destiny since the decision in 2010. I think this is going to get pretty ugly. I think what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to probably get rid of Ben Simmons because the Philadelphia 76ers are a team that is looking at contending in the playoffs, going deep in the playoffs. If Ben Simmons on board, there's no point of keeping him. To me, it depreciates his value. So you got to figure it out, right? I know Damian Lillard might not be available right now. You might have to go for a lesser package, and maybe you should. And I don't think they should, but you have to figure it out because this could be a toxic scenario for your franchise. This is a team. It's not like when the Houston Rockets were getting rid of Harden. I'm like, they're going to be bad anyway. Like the stuff Joel and Beach. There's a lot more factors to take into account, and this is just a bad situation for the Sixers, and they have a lot more to lose here than Ben Simmons. Now, Ben Simmons is going to get finalized. He's going to lose a whole money, but Ben Simmons is a pretty rich dude, so he can keep eating those bucks for a while. And at number 5, the last story we have today, Malika Andrews. Congratulations to Malika Andrews. She is getting a promotion. She will now host the Jump. It's not going to be called the Jump Shot, I believe, formerly hosted by Rachel Nicholas, who was let go for ESPN for some recorded conversations. Let's just say that. It's going to premiere on October 18th. Also, guests that are going to be on the show are going to be guys like Kendrick Perkins, Shanae Ogumake, Vince Carter, Zach Lowe. I think this should be a solid show. I don't see that much of a difference. I think it's going to be from Rachel Nicholas' show. I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference, but I think it's going to be, if you like NBA content, I recommend you check out. Malika's really talented. She did really good replacing Rachel under, tenuous circumstances, and she's one of the bright young stars in the industry. So congratulations to Malika. And that for this edition of Outside the Shop. Share this however you're listening to. I would appreciate it. Also subscribe to the YouTube channel. Have a great day, everybody. God bless.